Good morning, YouTube. We are live. We are live Sunday morning catch up. It is your boy Zulu Geller. Like, share, subscribe, comment. Wake you, wakey. Wake you, wakey. Good morning to y'all. So, busy week last week. Holiday weekend carried over into this week. And then, we've been getting a lot of rain. So, getting through the day throughout the week has been hard. I've been getting in super late. You know, I usually get in 8, 9. The way work is going, I'm coming in 11, 12, 1 o'clock at night. So that's what's happening. I think I'm going to have to focus everything on Sundays right now. If I do a stream through the week, it's probably going to be random. So I'm going to finish these up that I got lined up and then just set a lot up for Sunday. I'll try to do at least two on Sunday, one in the morning, one at night. If there's another that can be squeezed in, I'll do so. And then anything else probably just be random. Y'all see pop up. I try to preset what I can when I know I'll be able to get through it. But right now, I just been on the bad, been on the bad trend where it's just postponing, uh, rescheduling. Just too much. That ain't good. So let me get that in order. Um, but today we're talking about the workplace double down. Like what goes on at work. That is very, very important. It is minimized and made fun of, the workplace boo and work hubby and stuff like that. That stuff is generalized and, not really brought into the perspective and light that it needs to be. Um, there is always risk in a relationship, taking someone serious. There's always risk. There is always temptation. There is always a boundary issue. We are in times where there are less boundaries, and even when you try to have boundaries, rules, and standards, you're looked at as the villain, controlling the bad person when you're actually trying to protect things and make things go the proper way. Um, and it's very crazy. It's very crazy that right now, it's a one sided it's a one sided deal. Um, we get blamed in the red pill space in the manosphere for woman hate, and we get blamed for um, being misogynist. We get blamed for all these things, but really and truly, it's in reverse. It's actually the terrorists trying to project on you. Uh, the women of today's world, particularly the modern Western world, are horrible, very, very horrible. Uh, we have been operating on used goods for a long time, and the behavior, the urges, the impulses, uh, the addictions that they have will destroy what you built. They're not going to play a role. They're not going to be a helpmate. They are not going to have resolve and discipline, uh, honor, uh, respect, loyalty. They're not going to have it. And also, you as the upright thinking man, free thinking man, man that's trying to do the right thing, live by man code, you're going to have to also uh, identify bad men as well. Because again, the women can't do it by themselves. They have to have an accomplice. They have to have an aid, and a better, somebody else to do things with. You know, in most cases, it's other men. You know, no limitations when the rainbow situation appears, but in most cases, it's other men, right? And in the workplace, like I've been in these workplaces, the lady in the image, she seems to be Somali or Sudanese. I actually worked around them. Um, this is back when I was in Louisville, Kentucky, and I worked at Zappos before it started turning into Amazon. So I know exactly what you're talking about. And the shift leaders, the guys that actually didn't do any work. You had a few ladies that they were shift leaders too. They didn't do any work. They just walked around and went to different areas and monitored, people doing the picking and packing and scanning. Uh, and will run back to the desk to check reports, you know, and to make sure, everything's running smooth and stuff. They would sit back and talk about, this chick over here that works over there is cute. That chick is cute. And this one looks like this and that. You know, they're literally at work. Now these are the dudes, right? Because I'm fair. I give everybody their fair share in the responsibility. Like I told you, the red pills isn't just for you to understand the nature of women. The red pills for you to understand uh, not only the nature of women, but it's also to understand that in today's current environment, when you're trying to have a partner and possibly build a family in life, that you will have to identify your enemies, and other men will be your enemies, along with understanding the nature of women, right? And a lot of guys promote this behavior. A lot of guys create these monsters, help create these monsters. They're monsters themselves. But these guys would talk about this one is cute, that one was cute. And that's just one job that I've been in. You know, it's very bad in factories and warehouses. Like the lady in another stream that she was talking about is very, very bad. People go to work and they turn it into high school. Uh, I have never understood when you become an adult and you keep the high school mentality, and you take it everywhere and you apply it to everything, and everybody thinks that's normal, right? So you got dudes that do target women. Make no mistake. Now there are women out here who do what they want to do. They're feminists, they're empowered, they're entitled, they do what they want to do. But there are guys out here that target women, and they target in a way to where it's just like, I want to hit it, I want to get a turn, I want to hit it, so I'm gonna run game, I'm gonna talk, I'm gonna apply pressure. They nothing illegal in the sense morally wrong, yeah. Like they don't care what they bang, right? So it's guys like that at every job, everywhere you go, out in the world, up and down the sidewalk. It's guys like that, right? So you can't have a scenario where you got a loyal woman, a humble woman, woman that's been on her best efforts, and she run into that wrong guy, and he can put the pressure on her and make her crack. So that does happen too. Now, it's some women that just don't automatically go out here and run them up. Um, and I would hear stuff like that all the time at those kind of jobs. I would hear stuff like that. I would walk past arguments, fights, disputes, and I would go the other way. I never really got involved in that shit. I've always kind of been the way that I am. Always off to myself, working hard. Didn't really talk much at work. I was a no nonsense person at work. At one, it's like I like to work and go home. I don't want to be in the drama. I definitely don't want to be in no gossip about, in regards to my personal life. sex life stuff like that. I don't need that floating around at the job. So I've been 100% with that, and I've had a lot of jobs, and I've been 100% with that. I have never had to go through that. And I think that people really don't have the proper discussion anymore. People do not, men have not had the proper discussion for a long time. Men have just let a lot of stuff go. Men have been shamed into saying that if you don't say anything, that's manly. Men aren't supposed to say nothing. They also try to attach that with if you say something, you're being emotional, so you're not being masculine. And that's so far from the truth. Like, we talk about a closed mouth don't get fed, but then it's like men aren't supposed to say anything about fuckery. Uh, One of my requirements to be serious with a female for a long time with Western women, whether they could adhere to it or not, was that you can have not slept with somebody at your current job. That was one of my requirements. And my line of question, like I told you, they used to feel like they were in the interview. It's like, no, I'm trying to gauge if I take you serious, what are my risk factors? You know what I'm saying? Can I put boundaries in place? Does this woman have discipline, wherewithal? Does she have the understanding of what it takes to have a relationship? You must have boundaries. You must have a certain uh, behavior and discipline and rules in place. You must have those. Otherwise, it will fail. Um, there is no way that a person that you take serious uh, is reliable and trustworthy if they go to a job every day that they have already slept with somebody at that job. They are not going to put what you started with them as a priority. It is impossible. You know, they're going to go to work every day, see that person. They're going to go to work every day, speak to that person, and they're going to continue to flirt, if not hook up with that person at some point. There's no way that you can be in a relationship, take anybody serious. You can't even date people in general, just anywhere at any time anymore because people got so much stuff going on behind the scenes that you don't know about and that you fail to check for because again society says men aren't supposed to ask questions or say anything. It makes you look emotional. Now I am aware. I'm really aware. I have a decent IQ. I have rather a good IQ and I have good instinct and I have common sense and I understand cause and effect. So I try to, have foresight and predict outcomes that present themselves to me that I need to pay attention to. And it's evident, right, that you as a man must ask questions that are very, very necessary. And some of us have these jobs or at our current jobs and we see the stuff that goes on. We see the arguments, we see the drama, we see the soap opera stuff, we even see the fight, and you find out who people talking, who's sleeping with who, and you stay away from the nonsense. Um, you just stay away from it. But you look and see and you be wondering, like, why do y'all do this at work? What does this have to do with getting your money? You know, and people never learn. It could be people of all ages, not just young people. Like I know a situation right now where we're dealing with some 40, 50-year-old people hooking up at work. Uh, you definitely see people of that age or older wind up being divorced from people, that they're dealing with at work. And this is a very important discussion. Like, go back to when you go back to all these panels, all these content creators, all these dating coaches, especially the panels where you got many different people on there, a combination of men and women, and this the way they talk and they generalize stuff, and they really don't talk about the seriousness of behavior and boundaries and the topic of the workplace coming up. You know, see, guys like me will never be allowed into mainstream or on important discussions like that, even though I don't really have them no more because I'm telling you guys, it's kind of pointless right now. Between the men and women having these discussions, for one, you should listen to women anyway, especially at the rate they're going. Um, it's just very, very bad. But then when you go back to the dudes who are pandering, minimizing stuff, skimming over stuff, skipping details, skipping very important factors, they're actually doing all this and they're faking and acting like they're having a real serious conversation and a purpose, but they're really leaving out a lot of stuff, that I can dissect and decode and tell that they're leaving out a lot of stuff purposely for the sake of they want to be at a certain rating. They want to be PG at a certain rating so they don't get dinged by YouTube and they keep sticking their feet in the water to test it with the women audience to keep them numbers uh, for themselves as well, to add into their subscriber count, donor count, you know. So so-called supporters, right? But if you have the raw and uncut discussions like I have, just say for the sake of things that you do have the proper panel. Imagine me on a panel and you hear a woman say something stupid like, well, I think that if you have a history of work, you can still find a relationship outside of work and still continue to have that job or career with no issues and no worries. And a nigga like me on the panel gonna be like, look, stop lying, okay? You should not have a relationship with anybody or date anybody until you find you another job and you learn to proceed in that job with discipline and the proper character and structure to where you do not sleep with anybody at your place of employment. Then you need to start fresh. Then you need to have a relationship. Maybe the dude you slept with at the old job, you start a relationship with him once you get another, right? Or just be with the dude that you slept with at the same job. Y'all go to work together. You don't need to bring an outside person into that madness and that mess, right? It's bad enough that it used to be before the internet when your woman went out the door, she got attention and offer that basically couldn't be recorded. You know, it was based on off a real interaction and if she decided to tell you about it or not. Okay. Now we got it to where it's social media and everything's electronically. It can be recorded and traced and tracked. So, you know, just imagine the same thing. They go to work, they get attention at work. A lot of them, I see the women at work, they showing booty, they got spandex on, they got dresses on showing panty line and crack. It is a real thing that it's so many factors that has to be accounted for you to determine your chances with things out here. Simple things like this. Can my woman go to work and be honorable? You know, so much as I want to go to work and be honorable. Are there other men at work that I have to account for that I have to at least at least estimate or have an open mind that there are going to be types of men there that may look, of course, may flirt or whatever, but Is there a guy there that will go in for the kill? See what I'm saying? And then I can't be worried about it. I can't have an unhealthy mind state about it. I definitely can't be going to work at her job and then, showing up and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. So it takes a lot of discipline, you know, to even just know what can happen. You know what I'm saying? So these discussions aren't real in the management. They're not real. You know, they're not. Nobody is hitting hard. That's why I call this the workplace double down screen. I've done this in real life many times. Okay, I've done this in life many times, and I've fired girlfriends many times behind this because I don't play this. Go get the money and bring it home. That's the motto. And I believe in that. And that's what I do. When I go to work, I go get the money and bring it home. I don't play at work with nobody on any kind of level. And that is the rule, you know. So if you're going to have discussions when you're courting, not really dating, for those of you who still don't understand why you shouldn't date, you should be courting, we're still offering you the understanding that once you try to get to know a female and you start going over, back and forth about things about each other and stuff like that, getting to know her, know that it is a interview process. It really is an interview process. Like you have to check a lot of stuff. You know, checking workplace history and behavior is very essential just as much as it is sexual history and behavior and body count. Otherwise, you get what you don't check. Closed mouth don't get fed. Don't listen to these people telling you a man is not supposed to ask questions, have standards and boundaries, and not supposed to say anything about something. That is not the case. When Adam allowed Eve to hand him the forbidden fruit, and he didn't question it, he didn't reject it, he didn't say no, he suffered the consequence. I'm telling you guys, you must speak up and ask things like this. And you must grade accordingly. And if it's a failing grade, it's a failing grade. You must identify the hoe. We have failed to identify the hoe. We have failed. Men have failed to identify the hoe. Western men, American men, have failed to identify the hoe timely and early as possible. I have failed quite a few times in my life. I can admit this, right? But you must identify the hoe. And no matter how she looks, no matter how stimulated you are, no matter how attractive you are, no matter how much you want to smash and hit it, the first thing you need to understand is you must identify the hoe. And if she is a hoe, she does not receive certain kind of treatment and benefit. That's just the bottom line. And if that causes you not to get a turn, then you must bypass the turn and move on. Don't play around with the hoe like the hoe's a girlfriend or a wife and get yourself caught up. And don't try the process of acquiring a girlfriend and a wife to a hoe. It never works. A hoe is a hoe. Period. Now you can make a hoe a concubine, but you got to be bold enough and man enough to tell a female uh, that you can give her a concubine position. I've done that multiple times over the last couple of years, and I told y'all about it. I stopped. I stopped playing around with failing to identify the hoe. I stopped that shit. Okay, and I'm trying to help you guys. We do not have a nation of wives and girlfriends and fiance in America. We just do not. We have almost 100% concubines out here. And it's just that these women have developed in a society where they can have the lifestyle and histories of having a bunch of different men, and it has been taught to them that after you can still pick and find a husband after you've had so many men go up in you, and it just don't happen. That just don't happen. That's not nature. That's not reality. That's not biology. It just don't happen like that. But a lot of you who got partners, girlfriends, wives, and even the women who got husbands and boyfriends, y'all got people going to work and they're distracted. They're doing something else. They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And part, again, part of getting to know people, if you're single and you're trying to get to know somebody, this is a very important topic. So I'm gonna get out of here on this one. I'm gonna catch up with y'all on another stream here in a little bit. Let me get myself together because I'm gonna get my day started pretty early. I'm gonna bang out two streams for y'all. Probably catch up with y'all later tonight, but I gotta get up and get moving. This is your boy, Zulu Gullah. Like, share, subscribe, comment. Yeah, holler at y'all a little bit.